Welcome to the Foray Music Podcast. I'm Charlie.
I'm Alexandria.
And I'm Amy.
On this week's pod, it's time to rock the vote. Thelonius Monk's sage, if strange advice, new music, and more.
First off, what's new? What's on your mind, everyone? Want to go first, Amy?
I would love to go first. This is like freshly on my mind because we just watched this documentary tonight. We watched the Selena Gomez documentary called My Mind and Me.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It was heavy because she has been through a lot of things with mental health and with her
Lupus.
yeah, she has had lupus, among just a lot of other life hurdles. But I always love when artists release sort of that type of diary documentary vibe, because it's sort of cool to see like a behind the scenes, like version of not the news saying their tea. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like their
Yeah.
sort of like, it's sort of like you get to see their take, and she's just been through a lot. So, and it was cool to see her childhood, and I love home videos of people. And then the song in the credits was like killing. And it just got released. I think the whole thing just got released really recently. The song release date was November 3rd, but I'm pretty sure the documentary is also fresh. So I would definitely recommend watching it. It's heavy, but for some reason it didn't really like bum me out. It was just really honest.
Yeah, very human.
Yeah.
Like so many times, like being a like popular figure, you get dehumanized. So I think that's like, this is her way of like combating that like dehumanization that she's like experienced through the media, which I think is a great way to do it. And she was like, so it like exemplified her artistry as well.
Yeah, she's always been performing, literally, since she was like,
Did she say 7?
7, I think, was when she did Barney. So
Barney.
crazy. Like, imagine being famous since you were 7. That was the most profound thing I think she said tonight that hit me. Was she was like, I don't want to be famous. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I've been working my entire life, literally my entire life.
That's brutal. I think there's a new Barney documentary coming out, by the way.
Really?
It's like an expose. Yeah.
Oh my
The
God.
dark side of Barney. Did you guys watch Barney when you were growing up, or no? Is that like before your time?
Absolutely not.
I did. I love you.
It was not
You
before
love me.
my time. I know that though.
Emily.
So it must have been like in school and stuff, but no, I didn't watch TV. I'm not kidding.
Wow, you're cool.
No. Talk to my parents, man.
I think they saved you.
Honestly, well, actually though, my 15-year-old self would hate me for saying this, but I think it did cause some cool things in my life.
Yay.
Anyway.
Were you allowed to like drink like soda when you were little?
Did you have Capri Suns?
I drank it on. No, we literally didn't have Capri Sun. That wasn't like banned though or anything. We just didn't have it in the house. But wait, what was your question?
Do you drink soda? Did you eat like
no, like on
cereal,
special
like
occasions.
sugary
It
cereal?
was like when I went to visit. No, like literally when I went to visit my godmother, that's when I would have soda, and it was always a special occasion because we never had it in the house.
Oh my gosh.
They were hip though. I feel like that paints them
Yeah.
like so weird. Like I love my parents, but
No, they're just
soda.
like caring for your mind and body.
I watched 3 movies as a kid: Wizard of Oz, Mary Poppins, and The Sound of Music. Those are the 3 that I
those
watched
are great movies.
over and over again. And now that I am a nanny, I've been watching Phineas and Ferb, which is such a good show. Okay, sorry, this was like really, really far from where we were.
I love that though, because like now you can be in touch with like your childhood spirit, like now, instead of like being like, oh, I don't want to watch Phineas and Ferb, but you can be like, squirrels in my pants. You know?
I love that song. I love that song.
I do not know.
You gotta check it out, Charlie. It's so funny. It's like,
Oh.
there's squirrels in my pants. It's like killing. No, but like TV does kill your mind, I think.
More so than TikTok or something?
That also kills your mind. I don't know.
gosh, no, I love that.
Who else? Does someone else want to go? Watch my mind and me.
I'll go next. If you aren't watching, which you should watch when we upload this on the YouTubes, the Astros won the World Series, and we did not cheat.
That was going to be my first question.
Alex got so mad at me earlier.
Because Amy said that we are cheaters, and we cheated in 2017. Mind you, 2017. What is this?
Did they play the Cubs then?
That is old news.
Because I think what happened was like one of my best friends like vehemently was like not having it with the Astros, and that's why I had that in my brain.
Everybody hated the Astros.
Okay, never mind.
So, anyways, we won fair and square.
Fair and square.
And it was so cute. They shut down the city on Monday because they were having the Astros parade. Everyone had off from school except for like real college people. But like middle schools, high schools, elementary schools, they had off. My mom, she called me in the morning. She was like, "Hi, Alexandria. I'm off from work today." I was like, "I'm happy for you." And she like dressed up in her Astros gear. She did not go to the parade. She said, "I do not feel like being bumped around." She's like, she like sent me a little picture she had on her all her like Astros gear with in front of the TV. Oh my gosh, like I'm at the parade in the living room. But yes, we are World Series champions. We did not cheat. So this is fair and square. We're the best in the world. Thank you very much. Houston, and I'm in Yankees world, but that's okay. So anyways, I'm very happy. I'm very proud to rep Houston all day, every day. All good things. Houston's the best city in the world. I am not afraid to say that. Okay, I'm done. Charlie.
Did you see the thing with like Kate Upton or something, like giving the middle finger to like
It was the Phillies fans.
The Phillies fans, yeah. I thought that was really
she's
funny.
Like, yeah.
Is she from Houston?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't know.
But,
I think she's from
everybody
Texas.
just loves Houston. All good things are from Houston.
I really remember a hang in Miami where you got into a debate with someone and you were talking about how Houston is the best city ever.
It's literally the best city ever. It's like one of the most. I can go.
I'll come through.
Like
next Foray reunion is going to be in Houston.
I wish.
Not New York, Houston.
I love best food. One of the most diverse cities in the nation. Like I took it for granted, like growing up in Houston, because my friend group looked so diverse. It was not just like one, person from like, it wasn't like one culture or like one, ethnicity or whatever. It was just like literally so diverse, and not even just like race wise, but people like internationally would come to Houston, like because we have some really good schools, and I don't know. I just loved, and it's so cheap. So cheap. My goodness. It was culture shock when I saw real prices.
Ooh.
Oh, and HEB. That's all I have to say. Best grocery store in the world. Hands down. HEB.
Oh, I don't want to fight about that, but Wegmans.
HEB is huge. And things are all local. It's just grown.
She goes, all local.
Henry E. Butts. That's my man's.
Charlie.
Okay, cool. I did have a thing. It's not really a big thing, but I posted this on the Foray Instagram because I follow this group called Illuminate that does like they post like different things about like the music industry, like different kind of like data points and numbers and all that kind of stuff. So I saw this in my email this morning. Diehard fans of Taylor Swift in the US spend 46% more time per week listening to music.
Whoa,
so that's compared to the average listener.
That's amazing.
Do you have numbers?
And a diehard fan is just someone who says that they like her a lot. Like that's only. So Taylor Swift fans listen to 46% 46% more music than spend more 46% more time listening to music than normal people.
I wonder if they're like
What are the
listening to
hours?
Taylor Swift just like
Mm.
more, or are they listening to like music in general more? That's so I don't.
That's really cool.
I don't know. I have very little analysis, but I thought that was kind of an interesting thing.
That's so cool.
Why don't we hop into the newsletter?
Yeah, boy.
Yes. Squirrels in my pants. Now it's stuck in my head.
Cool. So this week's newsletter was called "I Voted," which I did, and we just kind of wanted to encourage. Today is Election Day in the U.S. We're taping on November 8th, on Tuesday, November 8th. This is probably going to go up on Friday, which will not be Election Day anymore, but it's likely that things are still going to be getting worked out by Friday. Honestly, it's most people are saying this election is going to be a little messy. It might take a little bit of time, but we highlighted a bunch of different musicians, kind of talking about how important voting is and all that kind of stuff. People from Lizzo and Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish, all the way to my favorite, Cardi B. I'm a big Cardi B fan. Most people don't know that about me.
I
big Cardi
love
B.
that.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. But I remember when we were like in some random like recital or something. You know, like Cardi like really implemented the triplet into rap. And like she like changed rap.
Wow.
I said that? I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if you said she changed rap, but you're like, oh my gosh, like everyone's following this trend that she.
I was like, oh, she does so many triplets. It's great. I'm a boss, not a worker.
Oh my God. I literally,
that's my
the
favorite.
raps, Charlie. I already know. You know them.
I know that part that I just said. That's all I'll commit to.
You know it. I feel like if you had to, you could do it. I have to send you her interview with Ellen.
I've not seen that.
I cracked up. It's from like years ago, but she just does a lot of like all these weird stuff, and it's like the best ever.
Okay. Please send it to me. Anyways, but I hope all of you had a great voting experience. The next thing on our newsletter this week was Monk's advice, and I'd seen this maybe a few weeks ago. I thought it was just so cool. There's like a handwritten list of advice from Thelonius Monk, and so one thing that I thought was interesting that I kind of found is there's this like Guardian article that was talking about how Thelonius Monk was the job musician who couldn't more than wouldn't conform to the conventions of the job. He spent most of his professional life struggling to support his family, misdiagnosed and ignorantly medicated bipolar condition. His stubborn refusal to follow trends made it difficult for him to achieve success he deserved, which is kind of interesting. You know, I think a lot of people will talk about him as being the most influential or important or whatever. I know those words kind of don't mean anything once in certain contexts, but the jazz composers, like one of the most influential jazz composers, and up there with like people like Duke Ellington and maybe Wayne Shorter and whoever else. But he doesn't have that many compositions. I think what is it? Is like 60 or 70 or something?
72.
72. Which to me sounds like a lot. I probably have 72, but they're not as good as his, I guess. But I mean, for them, for the kind of talking about how he maybe didn't have as much success as he maybe deserved. He was on the cover of Time magazine. It was after he died, but he had a Pulitzer Prize. And what I read about today, which I didn't fully understand or didn't know at the time, was he was actually slated to be on the cover of Time magazine like 6 months earlier, but it just so happened that not just so happened, but like that was right before, or that was like right after JFK was assassinated. So like so then he wasn't on the cover for like 6 months or something. They like pushed it back, and then by then like the Beatles had happened, like the Beatles Ed Sullivan thing had happened, and so like he was kind of like on the cover, and it had already kind of like the moment had kind of passed a little bit. It's kind of crazy, some of that, but you can see his handwritten advice in our newsletter. But I kind of cherry picked a couple ones that I thought were kind of like less just out of nowhere and kind of more interesting. But I actually had a couple people reach out to me today, saying how much they liked this list, and not jazz musicians, by and large, but some of them I like was stop playing all that bullshit, those weird notes, play the melody,
Yes.
or the inside of the tune, the bridge is the part that makes the outside sound good. Or don't play everything or every time. Let some things go by. Some music is just imagined, and what you don't play can be more important than what you play.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. I think too, like I do feel that, like, oh, I feel like I have to play all the stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
It is
Monkey
a good
Monk.
reminder.
Yeah, that's
Any
so
other?
weird that
Yeah.
during his time he wasn't considered successful, but now he's like, I don't know, to me he's like one of my, like, as it not like the his persistence in not the fact that he was like ridiculed or like not given the space to completely be himself. That's so interesting. I think that's what makes him so great. I don't know.
He's distinctive.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a lot of people that we kind of consider geniuses, and they didn't make a lot of money in
That's true.
or or were not as respected as maybe they should have been in their time. Which is so funny because we're so obsessed with all of that stuff, and then it's like,
Yeah, and
it's
then
like, oh no, a
legacy.
lot of them don't really do great when they're actually alive. It's kind of like it's like kind of like a slower burn or something.
Do you truly believe that some people are ahead of their time? Like they are so far ahead that people like simply cannot appreciate it until like the time has caught up with them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it does, I think a lot of that is kind of like the whoever is the winner of history or something, kind of whoever the winners are, write history or something.
You're right.
I think sometimes people will like cherry pick historical figures to kind of like prove their points or something, or to be examples or whatever. But yeah, I think definitely like timing is like a thing for sure. And it's not just people, it's ideas and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It just is not the right circumstances for that to work or something, but it doesn't mean it's a bad idea.
I like that. It's not a bad idea. It's just maybe not at the time that people can appreciate it.
It also brings up all these ideas of like what success is and like what influences, legacy,
True.
genius. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Monk is super eccentric too. I mean, like you just kind of look at some of this list, and it's like,
Yeah.
there's stuff there. It must be always night, otherwise they wouldn't need the lights.
Oh,
I don't really know what that means. Do you fully? I mean, you see videos of him playing, and he's getting up and like spinning around and all that kind of stuff, but it's interesting. It's eccentric. We talk about Keith Jarrett like making weird noises all the time. I mean, it's just,
My man.
my man. I think what's funny too, the other thing that's kind of funny about Monk too is like this whole idea of like technique or virtuosity and all that kind of stuff. And I think some people will argue that he has his own sort of like virtuosic thing that he is doing. And obviously there's like a lot of stride piano going on. There's like a lot of different kinds of things. Not to get too in the weeds about all this, but it is interesting that like Yeah. I think jazz, especially like collegiate jazz stuff and jazz education, but I think jazz in general is like very obsessed with like virtuosity and and so it's kind of interesting that like the one of these important heroes, I mean, is not really virtuosic in the same sort of way or something, or again, if you listen to a lot of his solos, they're kind of a lot of the same stuff, like there's um I don't know. He's kind of playing his thing and he's not playing anybody else's kind of thing, or he's not playing like it seems like what you should be playing or something. Um,
Oh, I feel
but
that.
anyways.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, preach, please. I'm obsessed. I don't
I
know.
love Monk.
It just whenever someone is undoubtedly themselves, I'm just like I fall in love instantaneously. It doesn't matter what you are doing. Like you could be a banker, and if you are undoubtedly yourself while being a banker, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love you as a human. Because so many of us just parade around like trying to be something that or mirror something that we see on in media, or try to be acceptable, quote unquote, to like other people. And I don't know.
Lame.
Yeah, just yeah.
No, you're right.
And
You're
like
totally right.
I don't know. I think that's what true freedom is, like the ability to be oneself wholeheartedly in
Despite
whatever you do.
anything.
Anyways.
Nice. What's our next day, Alexandria?
That's me. Lakeith Stanfield, he's an actor, responds to Takeoff, Atlanta rapper Migos. He responds to his death. So it's been kind of all over social media that unfortunately Takeoff, he died at the age of 28 after
So sad.
after get this, a dice game, which I think is crazy. And he had just like done an interview where he's like, I'm ready to get my flowers. I don't want to like wait until I'm dead for people to recognize like what Migos has done for trap rap. That's what I call it. I mean, trap rap. Anyway, so Lakeith like is obviously outraged, and he um writes this post, and in it he says, I love this. At some level, we have to see our lives as valuable so that we think before we react and see another human when we look at a human man. Oh, human. I don't know about man, woman for me. We must stop holding self-destructive shit up and embrace things that build us a whole so that we can lead the world in the direction of prosperity by example. And I was like, oh my gosh, if we could just like put this on the front door of every like every front door, I feel like it would just help so much. Not only just like, I know he was responding to like violence that can sometimes happen within like this gangster rap thing, which we've seen with Tupac, Big, even Selena, and like and Christine. We were talking about Christina Grimmie, and she passed away because one of her fans. But it's just this violence that's around sometimes the music industry that but it's just like what the Keith was or Stanfield was talking about was just recognizing that at the other end of this person that you're saying is another human who has a family, who has maybe a child, or like sister, brother, mom, father, step siblings, like some people that just care about them, like we see that, and we're like, okay, we see this another human that has people that care about them, but we also see value in ourselves. So like we not only see them as a human that have people that care about them, but we also see ourselves in them. Which I think is just like, yeah, we have to like, I don't know, it was kind of like a call to action on his end of like, yes, like we deal with things in this world that are hard, but that doesn't not have to consume our mind. um we can treat each other with like love and respect. And I sound like a hippie.
No,
but
you do not.
but I think this is what Lakeith standing like was getting at, and I don't know. I just when I needed that reset because I just saw all of this like craziness, like with just take off and like death and all this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh. And like Keith, like Stanfield offered this, I don't know, solace and call to action just to like love yourself, see value in yourself, and see value in other people around you. Anyways, he ends the post, which I thought, or like he starts the post off, which is really great. It's like, let's make it cool to embrace life, travel, and learn new things, which I think this is like Foray is about. We're learning new things, we're treating each other with love and respect. And I don't know. I love that.
I don't know. I don't know Lakeith Stanfield.
He's like, I don't know. I love his TikToks. You should check out his TikToks. Sometimes he puts up his like audition reels.
Ooh.
Like, and they're really good. He's such a good actor. He was in Get Out. He's in this, oh my gosh. Why am I'm really bad with titles, but it's one where he like has to grow up and he like it was in theaters where he's like this telemarketer and he's like really great at it and like goes up to the front. I don't know. It's really good. He's also in like Someone Great, which is on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
It's like a rom-com kind of.
Like, let me at it.
But he's
Oh wait, no, yeah. No, I don't. I don't. I totally know him. Sorry to bother you. He's in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. Yeah.
Sorry to bother you. That's the telemarketer one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love Atlanta. I haven't been keeping up with Atlanta, but Childish Gambino.
Yes.
He's incredible.
He's my boy. I wish.
I started a bit with Jocelyn where I was like, our roommate, sorry, where I was like, hey, did you know that Donald Glover and Childish Gambino are the same person? I know. I just think it's funny. I think that's really heavy. I think one of the heaviest things about that is like remembering every day that life is so valuable.
Yeah.
And kind of like letting that be. I kind of like that. Because with that mindset, it's just sort of, for me, even maybe it would make other people dark, but I think it sort of brightens each day in a way.
Yeah.
Because then like smaller things become perhaps more meaningful. And I think there's like a tendency to just kind of like shut down and do the thing. It's like, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do this. Yeah. But that for me reminds me like, hold up a second. This is dope. Like I'm alive right now.
Have the opportunity to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like what you're talking about with the documentary you watch, like this like humanizing other people, I think that's kind of what you're saying. What both of you are saying, this it's like this other person that's like opposite from me. It's like they woke up in the morning, like just like I did, and they have all these vulnerable parts to their lives, and they're not just like an object, like there's all this other stuff going on.
Helps with forgiveness too.
Yeah. Ooh.
La la la.
Okay, well, there's new music this week. Alexandria, do you want to start off with Lainey Wilson?
Yes, of course. Oh my gosh, Louisiana Queen. So I first got obsessed with Lainey Wilson because she has a song called "Things a Man Ought to Know," and she's just like, I can do all these things that a man can do. The man should learn how to do that. Anyways, she has this new album out called Bell Bottom Country. She brings back that old country sound with more than a tinge of flair. Flair, get it? Because flare jeans, bell-bottom jeans. Oh,
I'm loving there's a wink in the newsletter.
Anyways, she when she talks about this record, Apple Music now has a place where you can talk about your records.
Oh.
So like you can like look up what they say. But she said, and that's what this record is about. It's about leaning into whatever it is that makes you you. Yeah, #Monk. It's about leaning into your story, your sound, where you're from, how you were raised, and being proud of it and being unapologetically that. Yes. Ooh. And this album does just that. If you're a country fan, I suggest. If you're not a country fan, I suggest it. It's good.
I like that.
I did check it out a little bit today.
Oh my
Charlie's
gosh.
like,
It is very country.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hillbilly. Yeah, one of them's called Hillbilly Hippie. Yeah.
It's very cool though.
Can we call this episode #Monk?
Hashtag monk.
I love that.
Anyway, sorry.
No one will know what we're talking about. The next one is by a band called Kansas Plates, and this is really the project of a friend of mine, Patrick Horrigan, who I've played with a bunch. He was not exactly a student, but he was kind of in that zone, and then he was in my band in Minnesota. And this is not quite country, but it definitely has like American roots kind of stuff. So it's an instrumental album, and there's some like cool saxophone stuff on it. It's not really jazz either. It's like this kind of weird, like Bill Frisell, kind of like chill-y kind of thing. But it's cool. Definitely check it out. I think I'm gonna do kind of like a quick interview with Patrick, sometime in the next week or two to learn more a little bit about this album. But it's cool. It's an EP, and it's very cool. Kansas Plates. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Smino,
Oh yes.
the St. Louis born rapper that has, quote, mastered sultry falsettos, funkified productions, and clever wordplay. Released Love for Rent this past week. Pitchfork said the rapper's third album is an invitation into his domestic sphere in all of its messiness, controversies, and communal joy. So I've been listening to this a little bit the last like week or so. I think it's cool. I dig it. People have been kind of saying that it's kind of like kind of outcasty vibes almost, kind of like Outcast a little bit. So I don't know. Alex, you seem to like that comment.
I like Smino. I love Outkast. Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
I love both. I shouldn't have said that. I love both. Really good rap.
What do you know about Smino? Yeah, I didn't know much about him before this.
He was on No Name stuff.
I was gonna say,
okay.
I think I know some stuff, but it's all like
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
still much in the very much
blurry
like
in there.
conscious rap vibe.
Mm.
But I don't know. I always like people who can like sing a bit, rap a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And we had some honorable mentions. The new Drake and
21
Savage. Yeah. So I haven't listened to either of those. So you were kind of saying you got mixed feelings about the Drake thing. Is that true?
I haven't listened to it.
I'm trying not to be problematic on the podcast.
Okay.
But I don't suggest that women listen to the album.
Oh wow. What?
I don't suggest men listen to the album either.
Oh, who's
it has
left?
Some pretty toxic ideas regarding women. And I felt, you know how like you're with your like grandmother or something, and like you play your music and she's like, turn that racket off. That's how I felt, because I was trying, I can love Drake. Like I love me some like Champagne Poppy.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I really want to love this album. I really, really want to love this album. And I cannot love the album. The beats, the production, beautiful. The rapping, the content, yeah, it's a little not, I don't think it's good. Like the messages that he's sending out are not.
So you say it gets 1 out of 3 chef's kisses.
Yeah, 1 out of
3. Yeah.
I probably sound like a grandmother, but I just more and more lyrics they can be so explicit to the point of like it can be uncomfortable to listen to, because you're like, you just said that.
Yeah.
You just said that about that human being.
Yes.
In the way that you think of them.
He comes at Serena Williams and her husband, and I'm just like, what? And then one of the songs is named P Word. We know what the P word is, and millions. Because he's like, that's what all men like need to focus on, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, get out. I don't want to hear this.
That makes me want to throw up a little.
It does feel like there's a bit of like an arms race. I mean, maybe there always was, but I think like I don't know. It's like there's like an arms race to be shocking, but it's like you have to be shocking all the time and like really in extreme ways, you know. It just seems like it's like kind of there's like no press is bad press kind of like a situation happening. And I just wonder if I don't know. Again, yeah, that makes me sound really old and lame or
I don't know. I
something,
feel
but
like my grandmother, like, turn this racket off. You know, it's gonna poison your brain.
I just like I'm just wondering like why whatever.
Because he can.
People I know, but like when it crosses lines into like not treating people like humans, it's like a little weird.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the way that we speak about each other.
Yeah.
Since I don't know, I just am always in awe when the priority isn't, you know, human first.
Yeah. Stanfield back at you.
I mean, do you
But
think like what response I mean, I don't know. I don't know what my answer to this question is, but I wonder like what responsibility artists have to like whatever, you know, like kind of like set a standard or like or kind of set a narrative or something around things, you know. I think particularly kind of what you're talking about, Alexandria, is like you know, how men treat women or something, you know, and that kind of thing. You know, it's just kind of like so you have your freedom of expression and everything. I don't think anybody's arguing against that, but
Right.
but when a room full of people are listening to you, I think that's what you're getting at. It's like
How many
and
people
especially
are
like a
singing along to that?
and yeah, especially like when I think about that, I especially think about like a lot of young men like listening to that and being influenced by that and being like, oh yeah, I wasn't really feeling that, but Drake said that and Drake's cool and rich and stuff, and so I should say that too, and I should think that, you know, and
yeah.
um, I don't know. I think there's like some of that's kind of almost like brainwashing, you know, in a way
Well,
where
it brings up this weird thing where it's like a lot of times I think the artist is just processing their own life, but then a lot of people don't think for themselves. So they just like any input they get, they're like, oh, yeah, oh, dope. That's what I think too. So then it almost turns around again and is like, then as an artist, I do think there's a responsibility. I don't know. I even like whenever I make music, sometimes I'm acutely aware if I ever use a curse word even because because
yeah,
I know like young people that I have interfaced with in jobs and in my community like will hear it or see it or whatever. But
yeah,
this is like a whole different level. This is like how
It's
do you view as a man, how do you view women?
yeah.
What is that for people?
I-
Are they human?
For
yeah.
him, no.
Do they exist apart from belonging to? Anyway, I could.
It was.
Yikes! I
I know my
got pretty
answers to
dark
those
about
questions.
that stuff.
I'm really trying to. I don't know. I've been getting really riled up these past couple podcasts, but
That's what we're
he
here
came.
for.
Riled up.
He came at Megan the Stallion, and first he questioned her interaction with the whole incident with I forget the rapper's name, where like people invalidated her situation, and then he came at her intelligence. I'm like, okay, Drake, where's your college degree? Because she was having a whole career and going to school and received a whole college degree. So like, what
Yeah,
what are you
Kind of weird.
like? Why do you need to come at her? She's empowering women. And what are you doing? Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's
I
that
loved
whole
I like
thing.
I love hate Drake.
There's a whole debate about how like in the rap scene, like rappers that identify as women who say things, everyone's like, oh, how dare she speak so vulgarly about herself and others. And then you listen to men rap and it's like,
Yeah.
damn, that's
yeah.
arguably much grosser, but it's fine because they're
Yeah.
cool.
I have so much less of a problem with like Cardi B saying things about the like, you know, about like female anatomy or something. I have like absolutely no problem with her doing it. Like, but I have I for some reason it's different. I mean, well, maybe not for some reason, but I think it's different when a guy says, is talking about it.
There's an idea of power that goes on.
Yeah.
In a lot of
for
cases, like a lot of cases.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going on with. I'm not a Drake scholar or something.
The album also, I should be transparent and say that. Like, I have not checked out this album.
I don't. I've like texted a lot of my friends, and I was like, "How do you feel about this new Drake album?" And most of them responded like the same. Like, I can't believe that he's certified lover boy. Like, usually he says things that like women are like, "Oh my god, Drake."
Well, that might be that literally might be a marketing plot.
Yeah, maybe it's like, a surprise.
How
I do think, it does feel like that. Money. Well, I don't know if you saw, like, he's doing like a kind of a fake press tour where he's like,
I didn't see that.
He's not actually doing a press tour, but he's like, he made all this content that made him look like he was on a press tour where they just like splice stuff together. Like,
what?
Yeah, like he did like a fake Howard Stern interview where it's like he's just like sitting on a couch by a green screen. They made it look like the Howard Stern show or whatever. And then they like spliced Howard Stern being like, yeah, so I don't know, like you get with a bunch of girls, huh? And then they go to Drake and he's like, yeah, I don't know. And then like Howard Stern responded to this too. He's just like, I thought this was kind of funny. It's just kind of weird though. Like it's like they did like a fake interview with me. And he's like, I guess I don't even have to interview anybody anymore. They can just like
splice.
They can just like splice me going like, oh, okay, wow. Yeah. But of course that whole interview too was like about like all the fake Howard Stern interview is about like how many like girls that Drake is having sex with or whatever, is like it. And he just is manufactured, it's completely manufactured by Drake and his people. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little gross. Anyways, let's finish it up here with some extra credit. So Bono on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert is talking about how improvisation is at the heart of what U2 does. So Colbert was kind of asking him about like his songwriting process, and he was talking about like how much they are like everyone in the band is like improvising, and how like that's the genesis of all of the songs that they write and like their whole kind of process. And I thought it was kind of sweet. It's kind of a nice little it's a nice little short kind of clip interview in the newsletter. So it's I'm not a huge U2 fan, honestly, but it's cool, and they're really influential and everything as a band. And Bono's a very influential person, and so it's kind of cool.
Whenever improvisation is spoken about to people, I'm always like, yes, talk about it. Anyway,
you're like, see, improvisation leads to lots of money. It definitely leads to financial success. This is proof. Bono said it. So I don't know. That's our newsletter for this week. Amy, do you wanna read us out?
Absolutely, I do. Thank you for listening and supporting Foray Music. Remember to like and subscribe. And just a note that if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts, it helps us a lot, and we would love to read and highlight your comments. Talk to us on next week's show. Okay. For more, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Foray Music. Subscribe to our newsletter at foraymusic.com and check out our website at foraymusic.com. Did I do that right? Did I say .substack? I don't think I did. Our newsletter is at foraymusic.substack.com. Apologies, everybody.
Cool. Apologies. And what's our quote for this week, Alexandria?
So far, so good, Mr. John Legend.
John Legend. He did it again. Okay. Well, happy voting, everybody. And we think you're super. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
The shortest one yet.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't skip anything, right? That we did all this stuff. stuff.